get started, and I want to welcome everyone to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Jerry Shockey, and we are pleased that you guys can tune in for our program titled Heart of a Hall of Famer series. And the real idea and premise behind this, as we share with all the groups connected here, is, the idea is to show what it took to get in the Hall of Fame beyond just the athletic ability. We know that our Hall of Famers are great examples of athletic ability, and that helped get them in the Hall of Fame. But at the core of really who they are and their ability to achieve this pinnacle of success is through their character. Because most of our guys, it can be said, if their God-given ability didn't lie in pro football, they would have gone on to be the very best at something else, whether it's being a plumber, teacher, pastor, whatever it might be, whatever the chosen endeavor. And in many cases, as you'll see with Mr. Bethea, is that they have gone on and achieved greatness in other areas as well. Whether it's in the corporate ladder, whether it's working with foundations, community organizations, whatever it might be that their passion is, and their post-career is beyond their athletic career. So that's what we're going to here to share with you guys today. We know that you guys have been studying a lot about the 6 core pillars of character: the trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. And I think as you hear Mr. Bethea respond, you will see, or hear, I should say, those core characters reflected in his responses. So we are excited to be able to have this opportunity to bring one of our greats to your classrooms all across the country. And before we get started on Mr. Bethea's introduction, there are some folks that I need to thank that helped make this program possible, and without them, it wouldn't have been possible. First, we want to thank our friends at Cisco, Jack Christiana there, helped set up a system in front of Mr. Bethea at one of the schools in the Rosenberg, Texas area, and they have another system in another school as well, so they can tune in as a remote audience as well. So without Cisco, today's program would not have been possible, so thank you, Jack, for that. We also have to thank Lamar Consolidated ISD for allowing Jack and Mr. Bethea to come into your school district. We want to thank the administration there and the folks behind the scenes, all your tech people, for getting this connection going. We're extremely pleased that you guys were able to work with us on that. So thank you to you folks. And last but definitely not least, with all of our Heart of the Hall of Famers series, we have to thank our friends at eTech Ohio through the State Department of Education here in Ohio. Our friends Jason and Josh and Derek and all the other folks there. They're the technical folks behind the scenes that you guys are calling if you have any problems. That 1-877 number that I always send out to you guys. They are the folks that bridge this conference together. So without them, this or any of our programs would not have been possible. So thank you to those folks there. We have to definitely thank the educators, the teachers, the technical folks, the librarians, all the different folks that are involved with these broadcasts. I want to say thank you for making this possible for your students. But last but definitely not least, we need to thank these students because you guys are the real stars of the show here today. You're the ones that have done the prep work behind the scenes to think of some great questions to ask Mr. Bethea, not only in regards to his athletic ability, but most importantly in regards to his character. So we're excited to hear these questions from you guys in just a minute. So we want to say thank you to all the students for being here today as well. With that being said, what I would like to do, as we do with all these Heart of the Hall of Famers, we want to give the students the opportunity to give a shout out for their school district. Not only number one to give a shout out, but number two to allow the other students that are tuned in to see where you guys are coming from and who you are. And then number three,
welcome to Voice Plus Conferencing.
See who is connected in. So that's a little bit. That's what we're going to try and do here today. So we'll start first with George Junior High. If you want to go ahead and unmute your mic, the students it's a classroom that's hosting Mr. Bethea. If you want to give a shout out, go ahead.
Shout it out. Everybody's listening. Say hello.
Hi. Thank you, George Jr. And we're going to stay in Rosenberg, Texas, and let's go to Lamar Junior High School. Lamar, go ahead, give a shout out.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lamar. Appreciate you guys' attendance for this program today. Let's go to the state of California, in Hanford, California. Our friends at JFK High School. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, thank you very much, JFK. And let's shoot across the country all the way to Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh. Let's go to Pittsburgh Carmel.
Hi.
That's pretty good, Pittsburgh. Very good. And let's come not too far away from here in Canton, Ohio. Let's go to Oberlin, Ohio for the Lorain County JVS. If you want to go ahead and give a shout out.
Hello, this is the Lorain County JVS. Our students will be here any minute now.
Okay, thank you for the shout out. You did a good job filling in for your students. And let's go to Arkansas, Greenville Middle School. If you want to go ahead and give a shout out.
Come on.
Okay, thank you, Greenland. And then our two view-only schools that are tuning in here today, hopefully they got connected. Let's go to Boyceville in Boyceville, Wisconsin. There must be some problems in Wisconsin today. We can't seem to get our Wisconsin folks connected. And let's go to Alabama. Let's go to Huntsville.
Say hi.
Hello. Why I'm here.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Huntsville. We appreciate you guys tuning in here. But that's going to be the order of the questions for the interactive groups. We're going to go George Jr., Lamar, JFK, Pittsburgh, Carmel, Lorain County, and Greenland. So we definitely appreciate all of you guys tuning in, and we'll ask you to keep your mics muted until we actually call upon you to ask your questions. So with that being said, what I would like to do now is introduce our featured speaker, and that's Hall of Famer Mr. Elvin Bethea. And I want to read a little bit about Mr. Bethea's career, both on and off the field. He was born in Trenton, New Jersey in 1946 and was the first of 9 children. He attended Lawrence Junior High School from 1958 to 1960, then Trenton High School from 1960 to 1964. While attending high school, he played on the football team for 3 years, as well as the track team. And in 1964, held national track honors in both the shot put and the discus. He attended North Carolina A&T in Greenville, North Carolina on an athletic scholarship from 1964 through 1968. He was graduated from A&T with a Bachelor of Science degree in physical education. In 1968, he was drafted by the Houston Oilers of the American Football League, which was, at that time, in case you guys don't know that, the American Football League rivaled against the NFL. There were 2 separate leagues. The AFL is now what we know today as the All-American Football Conference, or excuse me, the AFC, the American Football Conference. So he was a part of that league and played for them for 16 years. And somebody have their mics unmuted? We'll ask all the groups to please make sure their mics are muted. Thank you very much. He graduated. Oh,
you did.
Boyceville, you guys have your mics unmuted? If you guys can mute your mic, please.
Hang on. We will. Hang on.
We can hear you chiming in there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And in the 31-year history of the Houston Oilers, only 3 players have had the distinction of having their jersey number retired. That honor belongs to number 43, Jim Norton, number 34, Earl Campbell, who's also a Hall of Famer, and then number 65, Mr. Elvin Bethea. Elvin Bethea joined the Oilers in 1968 after an outstanding career at North Carolina A&T. He started defensive end. And Boyceville, I think you guys still have your mics muted. We're going to have to disconnect you or mute you guys if you guys are going to keep interrupting.
Okay, so what does he want?
Oh. I'm not doing it.
I think that's Boyceville. Can they mute their mics because we can hear their comments in the broadcast? Thank you very much. In 1968, did not miss a game and until breaking his arm in November of 1977. That streak of 135 consecutive games still stands as a club record. But they also holds the Oilers records for the most consecutive games played at 210, most seasons played at 16, and most Pro Bowls played, tied for that at 8. Alvin led the team in quarterback sacks 6 times, including a career best mark of 18 sacks in 1976, which isn't too far off the current NFL record for sacks. The Oilers honored him with an Elvin Bethea Appreciation Night on August 4th, 1983. Mr. Bethea's jersey was permanently displayed at the Oilers training facility and during the season in the Astrodome, and served as a constant reminder of his tremendous contribution to the city of Houston and the Houston Oilers. The jersey is now displayed in Nashville, Tennessee in the Oilers/Titans Hall of Fame. Most of you, I think, probably know that the Houston Oilers eventually moved to Tennessee. They're now what's referred to as the Tennessee Titans. Mr. Bethea was also honored as a new member of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. And then on August 3rd, 2003, Mr. Bethea was honored with the greatest achievement that any NFL player can, any individual achievement that an NFL player can achieve, and that's being enshrined here into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Off the field, he's presently working with Anheuser-Busch, and he's in the position of Director of Government Affairs for Special Projects for the Western Region, and has been with the company for 21 years. Other things that he's been involved with, he's been a member of the Texas Wildlife Board, as well as the YMCA Board. And then he's been not only on the field have achievements, but off the field as well, community awards from the City of Houston, the NAACP, the YMCA, as well as the Houston Police Department. So before I ask Mr. Bethea to have his opening remarks, and then we'll go to questions after that, I would like to share with you guys a little bit of footage from Mr. Bethea's career so you can see a little bit about him.
The Houston Oilers' Elvin Bethea would prove to be one of the finest defensive ends of the entire 70s decade. He played in 8 Pro Bowls, and his size, speed, and agility made him a force to be reckoned with every NFL Sunday. Official stats on quarterback sacks were not kept during much of Bethea's career, but unofficially, he led the Oilers in sacks 6 times. His unofficial career sack total of 105 and his mark of 16 sacks set in 1973 are franchise records that stand to this day.
And if all the schools at this time can go ahead and unmute your microphones for a second and join me in giving a warm round of applause to Pro Football Hall of Famer Mr. Elvin Bethea. We'll ask all the groups go ahead and mute your mics again. And Mr. Bethea, the microphone is yours, sir. Oh, are you guys still connected? I just saw him, Mr. Bethea. Maybe he got disconnected. Let's see here. Jack, are you guys there?
Uh-oh.
Jack, we cannot hear you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll get this remedied and get right back started.
Broke it twice in the same game. Yep.
Jerry?
Wrap it up
Hey,
and go back.
we lost you there, Jack.
There's one site that whenever they come on, it drops us. I can't figure out who it is, but when we started applauding, and there was one site that as soon as they take the screen, we get dropped every time.
Okay.
So it's happening
Okay.
every time. Not sure who it is. But
Okay.
again, we'll
Go
come
ahead.
back in as soon as we can.
Go ahead with your opening remarks, Mr. Bethea, and I'll call the bridge, see if we can find out in between. So go ahead.
Okay. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. And since this is the Honor Society, correct here, and everyone out there that I'm talking to this morning. Anyway, I was asked to take part in this by Jerry and the Hall of Fame, and I jumped at it as soon as they asked me because it was something I think that I should be a part of and wanted to be a part of because, as I said to the earlier group, that I was at one time I sat where you are sitting. And from where you're sitting now to where I am sitting at, one day you will be presenting to someone or a lot of people across the country. And just to say that I am honored to be a part of this because I feel that I'm a giving person. I like to be a part of a lot of community activities, and which I have been and will continue to be even at my age now. Retired, but I think I still have something to give back, just to talk to the youth, to the people who will be replacing me and others in the future, and because it's your future, and I would like to help you carve out that future, just to be better individuals, citizens, and to do things that many others haven't done or wish they could do. And such is my position. As I said, I never thought in 100 years that I would be a Pro Football Hall of Famer or even have the opportunity to sit here and talk with you all. So this is, and everyone out there, it's a good feeling that I feel. You feel good when you're giving back, you're doing something for others, and hoping that they can curb their lifestyle or their future by just maybe one thing that I may say or two or three things that may just click and say, hey, that's something I want to do or something I want to be, and this is how I do it to get there. But I hope that I can give you some answers on just how my life was and from the beginning to where it is now, and how grateful I am of achieving all the awards and accolades and the honors of being who I am and before you today. So, Jerry, we can start.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Bethea, and we apologize to the groups for the technical inconvenience. Unfortunately, that's technology sometimes. It just doesn't always agree with us, but we persevere and we work through it. So it's a lesson right here about character, is how do we persevere through it. So thank you, all the groups. But what we're going to do, we'll go in the order of George Jr., Lamar Jr., JFK, Pittsburgh, Carmel, Lorraine, and Greenland. We're going to try and go through first round. You will get to ask 2 questions. Even in between your questions, when I call upon you, if you can mute your mics in between the questions as well, just so we can minimize the distractions throughout the program. And then after that, after we get through the first round, we'll see if we can get through a second round. We'll go 1 question each. So with that being said, we're going to stay there in Mr. Bethea's classroom. And then students, I'll ask you to please speak up, or Mr. Bethea can repeat the question so we can all hear it. Go ahead with your first 2 questions of the program.
What made you want to try out for football in the first place?
What made me want to try out for football? Well, it was a bet. No, what happened? I was trying to get away from the work at home. My father said, if you stay here, you're going to have to work. But no, really, it was I want to say a gift from God or a gift from someone. My good friend of mine, we were always around each other, and back in Trenton, New Jersey, where I'm from, we could only play football. Could only play soccer back then, and up until the ninth grade, and I enjoyed sports, just to be a part of a team, with all my friends that went out for football, whatever, for soccer, and not knowing that what football was back in my early years, had no idea never saw a game, had no idea what a football was, and went out for the team. A buddy of mine said, let's go out for the team, and we're going to be football players. I said, okay, what is a football player? So we go out, and that Saturday morning, I make the team. He doesn't make the team. So from that point on, I skilled, I won't say skilled, I guess I started my journey to what I am now, and I have the honor of wearing the Hall of Fame, which is the top of pro football. You say Super Bowl, and you have all the All-Pro and Pro Bowl, but when you have the Hall of Fame emblem, you can't go any higher. It's like the President of the United States or whomever. You can't go any higher. You can't get any better than that. And then you wear the Hall of Fame ring, which I always tell people, ask me, is that a Super Bowl ring? And I tell them, no, it's better than a Super Bowl ring, because it's a ring that says, hey, you worked very hard for this. This is something that you earned. It wasn't given to you. Super Bowl ring, the trainer gets the football player gets a ring. The players get a ring. I'm sorry, the ball boy gets a ring. The people in the upper management get rings, but in the Hall of Fame, only the Hall of Famer gets a ring that he can wear and say, hey, I am one of the best, and no one else can take that from me, because I worked for it. Sacrifice. A lot of things that people take for granted, that, oh, you're just a football player. Being just a football player, it was difficult. A lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, tears, and 13 operations later. So that's what all this came down to in wearing the jacket and a ring. So it wasn't, it was a long journey, but it was a very good journey. And many players, it's only 1,500 that play the game, 1,500 to 1,600 that actually play the game of football. Like throughout the whole world, professional football. Now just picture that. That's less than 1%, way less than 1% of the players that would like to play the game from college. Once you get from high school to college to the pros, there's only, and back then when I started, there was only 40 players on the team. And now there's 56, but it was a good journey and I enjoyed it, and it's gotten me to places where I wanted to go, and it gives me an opportunity to sit out here with you all and everyone out there and just tell the stories about how I got to where I am and how difficult it was. Yes.
And I'll give you guys an example real quick. A quick stat, as Mr. Bethea said, how elite of a class he is in. It is 0.2%. This is a statistic the NFL Players Association puts out. 0.2% of high school seniors that play football will ever make an NFL roster. If we take that beyond then and we say there have only been about 20,000 players that have ever played in the National Football League throughout its 90-plus year history, and if we take that a step further and we say there are only 267 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I can assure you that folks like Peyton Manning and Brett Favre and Charles Woodson and Chris Johnson, whose artifacts we have behind us, they hope to someday be in Mr. Bethea's shoes and be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, wear that bronze jacket, that gold jacket, wear the ring, and have the bronze bust on display. You know, it's a tremendous honor to be enshrined in here. But what a tremendous guy to be in there. So let's go with the second question there.
Yes.
How do you think your character affected your career?
How do I think my character affected my career? Long term, I think my character going into my career for football and working with Anheuser-Busch, I think my character was built on trust, responsibility, respect for others. How do I deal with certain problems from my college, my high school days, and how do I achieve my goal? And how do I get to my goal? What did I sacrifice? I sacrificed a lot. I gave up a lot, mentally, socially. When my buddies were out having a good time, I had one goal on my mind, and I think that was the key. Setting that goal helped build my character of setting the goal that each day, each year, and setting that for me from high school to college. No one in my family had gone to college other than me, and I think that helped build my character as far as that, hey, I wanted to go to college, and I saw my friends going to college. I went to college, and then after I graduated from there, I went to the pros, and everything changes. Your character, as I told the other groups, I learned by listening. I learned by looking, watching other people, seeing how they react to certain things, how they carry themselves out in the public, how they relate to issues that they're maybe trying or they're dealing with. What goals are they setting for themselves? And I think this is what I help instill in my kids. I have three kids, and I think in building their characters, such as mine, that you have to just, I would say, hone into what you want to be. How bad do you want it? What are you going to sacrifice to get it? That goal is set up there so high, and then once you reach that goal, now you want to reach a little further. From football, from high school to college to pros, and I always wanted to be the best, not just in football. I wanted to be in the best of my class, but even if I had a D, I had to bring it down to a C, but I wasn't satisfied. I had to have an A. In football, it's the same thing. Your character, you build a character on what you want. How bad do you want it? What are you going to sacrifice to get there? And I sacrificed a lot. I gave up a lot. I trained like nobody else that I thought could train. I wasn't satisfied for what I did today. I was never satisfied. Even when I went into the business with Anheuser-Busch, I wasn't satisfied with being in the position I was because I saw other things at the end of it. I wound up from an area manager when I retired from Anheuser-Busch. I wound up in as a governmental affairs. That took me and met more people, and I found out that I could do these things. I found I can do things that I never thought I could. When I was growing up, never thought I'd be sitting here in front of you all, telling you all about my stories and trying to give you that one little spark that's going to kick in and carry you forward. And you're all out there and push you to the next level. Never stay satisfied with what you did today or yesterday. Always reaching for that further goal or setting that sight on being better athletes as we were every day. Every year I wanted to be better than last year. I had to make one tackle more than last year. And this is how I saw myself, being better than what I was yesterday. So, okay.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you, George. And let's go down the street, I think, from them at Lamar Junior High. You got a couple questions? Go ahead.
Which pillar is the most important to live by if you could pick only one?
Which pillar is I would say respect. Respect for yourself, respect for other people. I said respect. I think there's all six of them are very important, but I think the respect that you have for yourself, respect for others. As I was telling a story earlier that today, how the world is and how people treat each other and how you respect the person across from you or respect your teammate or respect the fans that you're playing for. That's a key thing for me. I think in looking back, all the things that I've gone through, I was always trying to be respectful for each and every one because I expected that back. I was telling you earlier that I travel quite a bit and I just watch people in the airport. Great place to watch, to see things happening, see people's reactions and just try to understand people. And a lot of things were in the airport, as you're going through the screening, and so how people respect you and talk to you. And I think that's a key. I mean, just in business, I think you gain more by being more respectful of others. And I saw that in business, saw that in football. So it's just something that I think I put at the top of my list. But I'm sure the other five are even as important or even more so. But that's something that you carry into the future and be respectful for others and expect the same in return. Yes.
Go ahead if you have another, Lamar.
After having fame and money, was it harder to keep good moral character?
Good question.
I have the fame, but the money is not there. The fame and money. No, I think that's where I kept a level head, and that's where I think in me watching and looking at looking at other people and how they handle themselves with the fame, with the money. It should not change you. Fame and money should not change you at all. I'm wearing the jacket and Hall of Fame, but that does not change the person that I'm inside. Having money, all well and good. You can have it one day and gone the next. But I think that you have to be conscious of yourself, of just being who you are. I think that's one of the things my mother said to me, and that just be yourself. You don't have to be. I'm here today. I'm so important that I can't look on the same level as everyone else, and that's why I think we have a problem here today. A lot of people that think that you have that power and you have the money and the fame, and you think that's power. And I saw that in the football world. I saw it in the business world I was in. That once they got here, that you never would know one day, guess what? You may have to come back down. Those same people, as the old saying goes, if the same people going up will be the same people you see coming down. And I think in the long run that's just a natural. I think it's something that when you're in that position, you have to say, hey, I'm still myself. Even though I have a few dollars more, or I think I'm the person of the day, it's not that way. And that's why I think this is something that we all have to understand about ourselves and everyone else. Just be yourself. That's all. You don't have to, just show that, hey, I'm better than you. I think this is what I've thrived on. This is my life. It's a life lesson for me. And it's carried me a long way. Carried me a long way, just with just meeting people. But I've met so many people that they say, well, we thought football players were up here. They can't talk to you because they're making so much money. No, you have some. You're gonna have some. But then one day they realize that, hey, I've got to come back down here and talk on the same level, look eyeball to eyeball with everyone in this world. So, because the day when football is over, it's over. Now you're back into the real world. You're just another person, a number in the real world. Okay?
All right. Well, thank you for the great questions there, Lamar. And let's go to California, to JFK. If you got a couple questions, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Bethea.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Who had the biggest influence on your character as a kid growing up?
As a kid growing up, I think that one person was my mother and father. They helped instill. They instilled a lot of things of who I was or who I am now. What I could be. My father was a hard worker, and growing up, first of 9, they instilled, especially my mother, hard work was a key. Hard work, doing things around the house, which were small things. Even today, I do dishes. Believe it. I have to do my own dishes. I remember, and make my own bed, and that's just small things that grow on you. That is something that you don't forget. And I have not forgot where I came from. Came from a very poor family. And whatever we got for Christmas is what you got for Christmas, and we were happy. And just thinking about the days, that the struggles that my mother went through, and I always say that even though I made all the money that we did make at the time, looking back, a lot of people ask me, would you do it all over again? And guess what I would say? Yes. Yes, that they instilled, there was the toughness. I don't want to say, well, it could have been tough love. Mop the floor if you didn't get, you were punished. Mop the floor, to do the dishes, to clean the house, to wash clothes. And I have not forgotten these things that my parents went through. Watching them, we had an old car that you could look down and see the road going by as you're driving. I look through the floor. I remember these things, and I think this helped build me. This helped build me that. But I knew that they were they did the best they could, and I think that is the thing that I know. That's the thing that has carried me through my lifetime. All the tough times that I went through. And I look back on them, and everybody has have a goal to set. When I left there, I always said I wanted to make sure I gave my parents something, and that was I think the key of the two people that really pushed me in to who I am today. And the only other guy would be my college coach, who instilled a lot of great things that. He said that he he always said you can always do better than yesterday, and I still believe that. And that's what I put my future on, that I could always do better than yesterday. You always try to succeed and go forward and do, if it's only one thing better. And in football, it was always one tackle better than last week, or two tackles, or two sacks, because I was always improving. But anyway, I'll end with that. But those are the two people, my parents and my college coach.
Okay, JFK, if you have another.
We learned that you were the first person from North Carolina A&T State University to be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What character traits helped you to achieve this honor?
Oh, I would have since I was the first one, I guess everybody understood the question about, I was the first one to first one to go into the Hall of Fame from North Carolina A&T, where I went to school. And the character, what I think the hard work every day. From what I went through, I always say that a lot of people wouldn't have gone through it. I sacrificed, and I keep saying sacrifice. I'm always saying that word because I believe in it, because I gave up a lot, because I wanted to be something other than the next guy. My character was built on what I back then, what I thought that I should be. I should be a better ball player, and that was a given. Just going to college, I wanted to be better than what I thought I was. I would be respectful, be caring, be a part of a team that I played on that had a lot of characters. That a lot of things that I did along the way that helped build and instill my toughness, mental toughness, my physical toughness. These are what help build a character. The people that you're around, and working as a team, not individuals. It's all me, mine, I. As you see nowadays, a lot of players out there, and this me, mine, I admit. No, it's not. Take you out of it, or take you out of take you off the team. Team still goes on. Team still goes forward. And this, I think, overall helped build the A&T. I learned a lot. A lot of people helped mold my character. A lot of people that I look back and say thank you. And as you all will see here today, you will have people, when you leave here, you will have remember people that you'll say thank you, to help build my character, help build who I am, and help push you forward, and give you that chance like I got. Believe me, it's just not going to be there. You have to work at it now. You have to have some great work ethics in order to be better. Every day you go out the door, I'm gonna be better than yesterday. I don't know what I'm gonna do, whether it's math but whatever it is, just being a part of, or being respectful of people. So that's part of coming into who I am. Those six are the things that help build me and put me where I am today. But I haven't forgotten who I am. That's the thing. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Thank you, JFK. And let's go across the country from California to Pennsylvania and go to Pittsburgh Carmel. If you have a couple questions, go ahead.
Wait a minute, this is not.
Pittsburgh?
Hello?
Yes, you got a question? Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Was there a professional teammate or coach who inspired you to be great?
You hear that?
It froze.
No, it just blind.
He's blinking.
Yeah, I wonder. Okay. they'll probably have to get reconnected. There's something going on there. Maybe that's for some reason
Froze.
they're getting disconnected. You guys, Pittsburgh Carmel, you can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay. And all the other schools, I think Mr. Bethea got disconnected real quick. There's some type of glitch happening, but he'll get reconnected here. What was your question? I'll repeat it for him.
Was there a professional teammate or coach who inspired you to be great?
Okay.
Just sit down.
So Jerry,
Just a moment. Yep. Maybe.
Jerry, so Pittsburgh, when Pittsburgh comes on, that's what cuts us off.
Okay, I don't know why that's happening. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. I will, if we can have you guys mute your mics in Pittsburgh, and I'll repeat the question from the young man that, what professional teammate or coach inspired you to be great?
What professional teammate? I would have to say.
Let me say this real quick, Mr. Bethea. Pittsburgh, if you want to email me your next question, you can go ahead and do that. If your teacher's in there, has my email, I'll repeat that question, the next one. But go ahead, Mr. Bethea.
Okay. Which teammate or coach? As far as coaching, I would say that the Bum Phillips. Many of you here may know about. I'm sure your parents know about Bum Phillips, but in my later years when I was playing, Bum would make sure he took care of the older players I retired at 37, so that you're old, very old. But Bum came in 1975, and he was my line coach, and he was one that I really respected. And I'm sure many of you and whenever younger people in the background here know about Bum Phillips and what he did with the Houston Oilers. And Bum was the type of guy that everyone respected because he wasn't one of those jumping up and down coaches that you see on the sidelines and yelling and beating and knocking in the chalkboard at halftime and just going totally crazy. But I've had a few of those. I had 7 coaches while I was playing, and some of the things that I sit there and watch the guys, what the antics that they would go through, and I'm saying, it's just a football game. But Bum was the type, he was so laid back that it was scary, that he would just say, we were losing to New England for the playoff game, and once you lose, you're out. So we were down 23-6 at halftime, and New England was killing us. So Bum came in and said one of his corny statements that, heck, you guys are embarrassing yourself. You're not embarrassing me. And we couldn't figure out what. There's just something that doesn't kick in. Do you understand? No, we didn't understand, but we went out, came back and beat them 26-23. And just his demeanor, just his attitude. And these are people who you remember. And I'm sure that, as I said before, you all remember teachers that just say certain things, that do certain things that make you click and just hit that right button. And I think Bum was the one he was the guy that he wasn't fancy. He'd wear the cowboy hat, but we all respected that. We respected everything that he stood for. And I think that's some of the things he would say we would build off of as a team. And that's how we had a team that from man to man, when you compare them to Pittsburgh or any other team that was winning, man to man, we were far behind. But on Saturday or Sunday when we'd get on the field, Bum would somehow get us together, just on little things that he would say, what he would relate to us. Wasn't nothing crazy, jumping up and down, but it was just the way he got the point across that you need to go out there and this is what you need to do, and this is the way life is. And then when I worked in the real world, things turned different. You have a different type of person that you deal with. So, and you learn to relate to that person and how to go forward. So I think he was my very as far as pro football, he was very inspirational in where I am today, and helped me get to reach my goal that I've reached. So, okay.
Now it's funny, Mr. Bethea, that you mentioned in there. You talked about you mentioned Pittsburgh, the Steelers, and Mr. Schroeder, the class that just connected, did send me another follow-up question, and it's a two-part question actually. First of all, how did North Carolina A&T prepare you to be a successful player and a businessman? And the second part of that, where we're getting to the Steelers, how do you feel about the Steelers? I think it was a gentleman in the background that was wearing the Palomalo jersey, I think, or whatever it was. I think that's probably who it was.
Well, I'll take the second person first. They cost me a Super Bowl ring. That's all I can tell you. But it was fun playing against Pittsburgh because they were a team that we really, when you have a competitive team like that, or you're competing against a group of people who we knew on and off the field, Joe Green and Franco Harris and Terry Bradshaw. It was a team that you really geared up to play. You looked forward to playing. A lot of teams were scared to play them, but that was a team we couldn't get there fast enough to play the Pittsburgh Steelers because we knew it would bring the best out of us. Every time you played the Pittsburgh Steelers, you knew you were going to play wide open. You were going to see who was a better team that day, and that's what I think that was our rivalry that. We wanted to see who was the best, and we beat them sometimes, and they beat us. So, and going back to the first question was,
how do you feel North Carolina A&T prepared you for be a successful player, which I think you addressed that a little bit, but especially how prepared to be a businessman?
Businessman, I think back then they prepared me in a way that seeing the outside of that football itself. I took courses, business courses, and not knowing what I wanted to be at that time, but I prepared myself. Preparation, that was the whole thing. You're in college, you have no idea what's behind the next door, and I think A&T. A lot of people call it AT&T. I said it's not a telephone company. I didn't graduate from it was agricultural and technical, and we have. Had quite a few people from there that it's a more of a technical what would you call it? Well, Ron McNair. I don't know if anyone know that name. Anyone know who Ron McNair was? Huh? Remember the shuttle flight? He died in the shuttle that blew up. No, he went to that school. So I'm just to tell you some other people that were. Besides me, I'm not important. I'm just a regular guy, but people of name and status. But A&T prepared me for this world that I went into from football to the business world. And when we had a motto there: if you can make it at A&T, you can make it anywhere in the world. Because the thing of saying no, I can't succeed was not. In any of their literature, you had to perform, you had to be somebody, and I look forward to the day when I graduated from there to going into business, and when the business went into football. So they prepared me not just for physically, but mentally, and spiritually, and getting me prepared for the real world. And everything, looking back, everything has turned out pretty good for me. Everything worked out well, going from pro football to a major company of Anheuser-Busch. And I worked there for 21 years and taught me a great deal about life, about people, about who I was and what I was and how far the goals that I'd set. And that's one thing I hope that you all leave here today with something, a goal set. By the time you get there, you may change everything. Things may change. Because I never would have thought I'd been in the spirits business. But the door was open, opportunity. When an opportune time comes, you may want to be whatever. And you get there and say, oh, this isn't what I want. The opportunity for something else happens, and there you are. So you take everything that you've learned from your college, from your high school, from whatever else, from your parents or whomever, you need to apply it to what your needs are, and take it and go forward. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. The spirits business.
Okay.
You're a pastor?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, thank you, Pittsburgh. I appreciate you guys' flexibility on that, Mr. Schroeder. Thank you very much. I know you can't say anything, but appreciate you guys' flexibility on that. So, what's really funny is we're going to go from Pittsburgh to the Cleveland area, and they happen to be battling tonight in Pittsburgh tonight. Pittsburgh against Cleveland. So I think it's ironic that we have those two join in. So let's go to Lorain County, just outside of Cleveland. Go ahead, Lorain.
Go ahead. Is that us? Oh. What is your fondest memory about playing in the NFL?
Oh. Well, I would have to say getting to the Hall of Fame is one. That's one thing, but I think I think as everybody would say that played in '78, and we played Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, and we lost to them. And when we came back, they took us. We got on a bus at the airport, and we drove back into Houston. And that was the highlight. I would say the highlight of my career. All the other things are second to none to this. Where we got back on the bus, brought us into the Astrodome, and many of you, I'm sure, have been there. Well, no, no, you all haven't been there. But they brought us to the Astrodome, and they took us right down into the field. And as we got there, you had over 60,000 people waiting for us. We had lost the game to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and which was the playoff game, which if we had won, there's no telling what would have happened. But when you come back to a city and you just lost a playoff, and you drive in and they bring you and put you in the middle of the Astrodome, and you get out and you just see 60,000 people that have been there. The game was in Pittsburgh, was over about 4 o'clock, and by the time we get home, it's about 6:30 or 7 o'clock flying back in, and you have people that have been waiting at the Astrodome from that time the game was over in Pittsburgh till the time you get back, and that is one feeling that still gives me goosebumps, that you go in there and you see 60,000 people that are filled, and if they could have stuck another 60,000 people in there, I'm sure they would be, but it just shows you what the city of Houston thought of us back then. And that's the point I want to get to, that they thought of us that much, that you have that many people that are cheering for you. And we not only did it one year, we did it the next year. Came back, and the people were all in the dome waiting for us. And it was a sight that you could never understand. You'd never realize unless you were there. But it says a lot about the fans of Houston, the people of Houston, when they get behind you and want to see you do good, and that makes you want to do even better. So each year we did that. And the old saying that I can't say what it was. That bum said that. We kicked the door in. One was how we kicked it in, and we knocked on the door, and then we tapped on the door, and then we kicked the door in. And we never did get to that point. Never got that Super Bowl. But just having those fans behind us, that second year was what really pushed us to really getting ourselves together and doing the same thing that we did the year before, and not getting that ring, not going to the Super Bowl, but it left a long-lasting memory of my professional career. So that has to be my number one experience of enjoying pro football and my time there.
In Lorain County, we'll go ahead with your second question.
How did it feel playing with Earl Campbell?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. I always tell people, Earl Campbell, I didn't play with Earl Campbell played with me. I was there 10 years before Earl, but that just to watch this guy, never heard of him until the year he got drafted, because I didn't follow college football, didn't know nothing about him. But Earl Campbell he was a man amongst men in college, and when he got to the pros, he was an outstanding player. He was our difference maker. Let me put it like that. Years up to my pro football player years, I'll go back to 2 years. We went 1-13. Won 2 games in 2 years. Now, even the dog didn't like me when I came home. But we'd won 2 games, and the year Earl came, I think it was 74, 75, so 76, 78, Earl came in, and we'd get close to our playoff team. Every year we get close, we get knocked out, but the year Earl came, that was our one piece to the puzzle that we were missing. And we had a lot of players that were from other teams, but somehow we molded them together, and we played as a team. And not individual. No, there was not one person who said me, my, and I, and I'm the important guy. Earl came, and everything went straight to the top for us. We went in. I forgot that year. We played against teams such as New England, San Diego, Miami Dolphins, who had never lost a game, and we went down there and beat all 3 of those teams, and that said a lot about our teams. That said a lot about our group working together as a whole. Team going forward for one common goal is everybody. When you come in this season, you say everybody wants to go to the Super Bowl. Everybody's not going to the Super Bowl. Only 2 teams are going, but you have set that goal. That's where we're going. But Earl Campbell was the difference maker for us in 1978 and 79. Yes.
Okay, and I know we only got a couple minutes left. We'll go a few minutes over just because of all the technical problems. And again, we apologize for any inconvenience for that with all the groups tuning in. But we want to make sure we get our 2 questions from Greenland and Arkansas as well. So Greenland, if you want to go ahead, I know you guys have been waiting patiently. Go ahead with your question.
Have you ever doubted yourself as an NFL player?
Have I ever doubted myself as an NFL player?
Hey, go ahead, you please go to your mic, and we'll get some feedback there. Thank you.
Have I ever doubted myself? I would say no. I've never doubted myself. If anything, I'd always push myself. With a doubted, the word I guess what I'm looking for. Never doubted myself, but I've always thought that I could play the game. I knew I could play the game, but it was just a point of what everything that I put in, and I wanted to have good results. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to make the All-Pro. I wanted to play the Pro Bowl, and so the doubts were never there because I wanted to be. Every year I wanted to be go to Pro Bowl. Every year I wanted to be All-Pro. Every year I wanted to be the number 1 tackler on the team in the league. But I had set my goal so high that there was no time for doubt. And I think I know this is part of what you all will be doing, I hope, in the future. Never doubting yourself, always saying, hey, this is it. Here's the line that I want to reach. I get to that line, and I want to go across that line. I want to step a little higher. You may have there's sacrifice. There's a lot of things you want to sacrifice that I had to sacrifice to give it. A lot of kids, I'm sure you can be pulled one way. You have choices in life, as I tell my kids and told my kids whenever. You have choices in life of doing things. Sometimes your friends will get you make the wrong choice, and sometimes your friends may help you in the right choice. But you have a choice, but you individually you have to make that choice. And I made the choice that each and every day I wanted to improve something to myself. Every year I had to prove something to myself, that I was better than what I thought I was. Not that, because I had a lot of people that when I went into the pros that I found out doubted that I could play the game. And I think this was the motivator. I know it was the motivator. These are the things when people say, oh, you can't do it. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said I can't do it, because I'm going to show you, guess what, I am better than that. When I went into the league, they told me I was too small. I was weighing 250. They told me I was too short. These are the things that I came back, that I couldn't learn the system. These are the things that everybody else doubted me, but I did not. I believed in myself. And when you believe in yourself, you can do anything. But how bad do you want it? What do you want to sacrifice to get it? And what route? You going to take the easy route to get it? No. Take the tough route, because it all comes back and say, I look back and say, oh, I made it over that. Guess what? If I make it over that, I can make it over the next hurdle, the next bump in the road. So anyway, I would end with that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bethea. Let's go one more question from Greenland to close the program. Greenland?
Okay, if you didn't make the NFL, did you have a backup plan?
Yes, I did. I want to be a race car driver. No, that I say that in fun, but that was in high school. I have no idea. I wanted to be a race car driver when coming out of high school. But no, I knew I had to go to work. I had no idea that I was go to college. I mean, I wanted to go to college, but as far as the pros, I had no idea I knew I was going to do something once I retired, and I had got my degree for teaching, and I figured that was back then that was the easiest thing to get into. That's what I was going to do, but never really thought of it long term. But I had an idea that whatever it was, I was going to do the best at it and make do the best of it. And because whatever you're dealt with, you deal with it at that point until something else, that opportunity comes along and says, hey, you might want to do this. Opportunity is a big thing, just like in the pros. One opportunity that I had, a guy was messing up in the play on defense, on the defensive line. I played both ways. I was offensive tackle and defensive end in practice, when that's what they got me for, and easy, because I played both ways. The player who was in front of me, the veteran who was in front of me, started messing up in the game, and I'm standing on the sideline with my helmet. Remember this day as if it was yesterday. Buffalo, New York, against the Buffalo Bills, and I'm standing there, and the coach says, "Bethea, you're in." And I said, "Coach, the defense is in. I'm on offense." He said, "No, you're in." Opportunity. Got in the game, never looked back. From that day on, I was starting defensive end. So whatever you have, whatever the opportunity comes towards you, make sure you take it and make sure you go full force with it and never look back. Okay?
Okay, and then thank you very much, Mr. Bethea, for all
Thank
the
you.
wonderful answers. I take notes. I share with all the groups. I take notes throughout this program because I apply these life lessons to my life as well, whether it's my career here at the Hall of Fame or whether it's with my family or with my community. These are all lessons that I can apply to all areas of my life. But I know some of the things you really touched on was obviously goal setting. You're very big on obviously being respectful. And then I like the part that you always say is who do you want to be, how bad do you want it, and what are you willing to sacrifice? And I love that because that's you can apply that to all elements of your life to that. But are there any last things that you would like to share with these students before we disconnect?
Well, I hope that each and every one of you out there that are listening, that you take whatever, one piece, one word, one sentence, whatever I said today, and to take it forward as I did. And the people who I respected, who as far as helping me to mold my life, motivate me, just hoping that one thing that I said today will help instill something that'll give you that one spark, as my coaches and teachers back back in my time of play or in school, that one thing that may just step you forward, step outside that circle, and be more aggressive on what you want to be. Just as one thing, maybe one thing. I don't know what I said. Maybe a one word, maybe a sentence, but I hope that whatever it is, whatever it was, that you take it forward and do your best. And the future is yours. You can change it, you can plan it, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's up to you to take advantage of it. Thank you.
And let's unmute the mic, everyone. If you want to give Mr. Bethea Okay, and we just want to say on behalf of Mr. Bethea, on behalf of the Hall of Fame, from our, from top down, from our board and Steve Perry to all the way down, you know our staff very well. You're in here quite often. We just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy day and sharing your message with these students today. So thank you very much for that, Mr. Bethea. And we also want to thank our friends at Cisco and obviously Lamar Consolidated ISD as well as eTech Ohio for making this connection possible. Thank all the teachers, all the students for everything, and this concludes our program.